Hi, good afternoon. My name is Heather Folzen, and Seelos Therapeutics is working to become a leading biopharmaceutical company by addressing the medical needs for patients with central nervous system disorders and in rare diseases. Our primary trials are SLS-002 for the potential treatment of suicidality in post-traumatic stress disorder, as well as in major depressive disorder. With suicide rates increasing as much as 30% in the past 2 decades, we are dedicated to advancing our studies and trials of SLS-002. Currently going into phase 2 trials, this treatment has potential to transform the entire treatment of suicidality. SLS-005 for Sanfilippo syndrome, we have had promising results throughout our Sanfilippo trials. Through our partnership with the Team Sanfilippo Foundation, we are about to enter into phase 3 of the SLS-005 clinical trials. Team Sanfilippo Foundation, upon approval by the FDA, plans to begin an open-label phase 2B clinical trial in up to 20 patients with the syndrome, and Seelos will be providing the clinical supply. Previously in phase 2 clinical studies, over 70 people with 2 rare diseases demonstrated a favorable safety profile and promising efficacy signal for treatment of the disease. SLS-006 for the potential treatment of Parkinson's disease has shown promising results in our past couple trials. In March of this year, Seelos acquired the exclusive licensed rights for a family of peptide inhibitors to treat Parkinson's and other CNS disorders. The preclinical data we have gathered from SLS-007 treatment targeting Parkinson's has actually provided evidence of slowing progression of the disease. So our goal and focus is on treating the actual disease as opposed to just treating the symptoms. In addition, we are developing several preclinical programs, most of which have a well-defined plan of action, including SLS-008, which is targeted at the chronic inflammation in asthma and orphan indications such as pediatric esophagitis, in which we're currently filing an IND. SLS-010 in narcolepsy and related disorders is also being worked on, as well as SLS-012, an injectable therapy for post-operative pain management. We have a couple different initiatives to be able to improve the success of our trials and studies, one in which we form strategic collaborations in the European Union as well as in Asian markets. We've also acquired assets in central nervous system therapy space through licensing and different types of partnerships.
Thank you, Heather, for that introduction. Once dismissed as a party drug for its hallucinogenic effect, ketamine is emerging as a novel alternative treatment for depression. The approval last month of Johnson & Johnson's ketamine-derived depression treatment shines a light on Seelos, which is currently advancing our own medication for depression. Johnson & Johnson's nasal spray, Spravato, and Seelos' SLS-002 nasal spray have both formulations of ketamine, but with subtle differences. Johnson & Johnson's nasal spray contains the S-ketamine compound, which is approximately 1/2 of the ketamine compound. However, Seelos' therapeutics nasal form of racemic ketamine is made of 2 mirror image molecules and is likely to be given at a lower dose because it is far more potent. SLS-002 is a lower dose of ketamine compared to its use in the prior anesthetic setting. We have addressed the risk of misuse, as SLS-002 will only be administered in a physician's clinic or the emergency room, and will come as a single-use device, making it safe and convenient. But is the product useful for the market? Yes. And our product is large and increasing. Like my cohort Heather had said earlier in her introduction, more than 900,000 people were admitted to the ER for suicidality last year. On the other hand, SLS-005 could be a lifeline for about 1,000 children in the US who suffer a rare pediatric orphan disease. Now for the financial setting. How does our promising clinical studies and breakthroughs translate to the financial viability and investor confidence? Well, two analysts who cover our company actually have advised their clients to include it in their buy candidate list. And on Wall Street, the shares for the company have already been tagged at a $4 price target, which on paper doesn't seem like much right away, but this indicates that our shares will actually rally to 66% from its current levels. Regarding our prospective future, our founder and CEO, Raj Mehra, has this to say. For a small company, Seelos has multiple assets in development, all of them with massive potential. Success in any one program justifies the investment at this time. Having three strong candidates is almost like having three companies under one roof. It just gives us multiple shots on one goal.
Thank you, Andrew, for providing some key overview information. My name is Chris Kowicki. So you've heard a little bit now about the company narrative, our product pipeline, as well as our outbound communication strategies. But the question is how effective are we at communicating that company narrative? What does the public actually think about Seelos? So I'm going to give you a better understanding of that perception, as well as some of the challenges we face. I'm also going to touch on the key stakeholders, and then TJ will delve deeper into the key stakeholders, and then some strategies to help bridge the gap between the company narrative and that public perception. So the good news is that experts, the press, and investors are generally optimistic about our potential product pipeline translating into business success. Our company is currently recommended as a buy for both current and future investors. Our business aspiration and model have attracted investors such as JP Chase Morgan, Wells Fargo, and BlackRock, which have all announced ownership in Seelos stock, which is helping to boost customer confidence and further our narrative. Now, despite this optimistic outlook, there are some challenges we face that could impact our long-term reputation with the public, our stakeholders, and our customers. So one of the biggest challenge we face is our website. It's not memorable. There are no narratives or stories for customers to connect with or to relate to. Our company website is also plagued with scientific jargon. Typically, jargon words are meant to enhance communication by simplifying concepts, but in our case, it's working against us. Now, we have set out to accomplish some ambitious goals to help cure central nervous system disorders and diseases. Let's not lose that value in translation. Let's build a narrative that people can connect with. If we fail to build that rapport, we risk losing credibility, and most importantly, trust from our customers, our stakeholders, and our investors. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And that's a quote from Simon Sinek. The other key issue we face is our company finances. Currently, our operating income is operating at a $2.2 million loss in 2018 between 1Q and 3Q. Now, we risk losing the ability to raise capital to fund development plans and ongoing operations. Investors are often willing to wait for earnings recovery for the short term, but may be less forgiving in the long term, which can be harmful to our shareholders and stakeholders. Now that we identified some of the challenges, let's analyze a couple of the stakeholders that may be impacted.
Thank you, Heather, Andrew, and Chris. My name is TJ Menning. Seelos Therapeutics has millions of stakeholders all over the world waiting for the near bright future. By millions, I am referring to our patients, resource institutions, and shareholders. These stakeholders could have life-changing treatments provided by our pipeline. Primarily, our most enhanced treatments, SLS 002, 005, and 006. These treatments will provide a fresh start for those who are suffering from depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, Parkinson's, and Sanfilippo syndrome, as well as create huge gap of capital growth for a billion-dollar company, Ligand Pharmaceuticals Incorporated, imposing that their multi-program partnership with us was not only smart, but indeed a tremendous investment. Lastly, allowing not only the public to invest publicly on the NASDAQ market, but be a part of our company while we save lives, cure the broken, and take over an industry that has no ceiling when discussing potential growth. The obstacles that we, Seelos Therapeutics, are facing is the gap that we have created to our narratives. For example, we believe that our website, social media, and promotional guide is not up to code in comparison to other major successful biopharmaceutical companies. We believe with a more professional, informative, user-friendly website that Seelos will receive better reviews, investments, and promotions. Seelos Therapeutics' biggest obstacle going forward is earning and gaining the trust of our stakeholders. Today, we are a biopharmaceutical company with negative earnings reports, multiple drugs that need FDA approval, and a stock that has been down for over a month. In order to earn the trust of our stakeholders, we, Seelos Therapeutics, must promote the stock to an evaluation that allows our company to continue to explore, develop, innovate, purchase licenses, and treatments that will positively reflect our company. Secondly, we must have an endless pursuit for FDA approval for one or more of our treatments. Without FDA approval, we are just another biopharmaceutical company that failed to deliver. If we are able to achieve FDA approval, we will have higher stock prices, and we will put treatments on the shelves and in the hands of doctors that will drastically change our quarterly earnings reports. Dr. Mehra, we hope after providing the following information on Seelos Therapeutics overview, focused areas, public perception, challenges, stakeholders, and communication, object to bridge gap between narratives, we can persuade you to earn the trust of our stakeholders, focus on FDA approval, promote the stock, increase our earnings reports, and acquire patients.